Hello and welcome back. Alright, so in the last video, I gave a brief overview of what software we're going to use for making a video game, and that software was Blender, GIMP, and Unity. And I'm just going to do a quick recap over that, and then I'm going to explain a little bit about what we're going to do to get started with making our game in the next tutorial. Okay, so first off, the reason why we're choosing Blender, GIMP, and Unity is because all three of them are free. Blender and GIMP are open source, and then Unity has a free independent developer version that is extremely powerful. Okay, so that's the primary reasons why we're using them. And now I'm just going to give you another quick recap of where to get them, in case you haven't seen the introductory video to the game design series. Alright, and so first we're going to go ahead and grab Blender, and the reason why is because Blender is going to be the program that we're going to use to make our models in. So whether it's a character, a gun, a sword, or a world for like a level for our game, that's what Blender is going to help us do. Okay, and so in order to get it, go ahead and click on download, and it'll bring you to the download page, and then you just have to choose which operating system you have. Okay, now this is probably going to be worked towards Mac and Windows, and the reason why I'm excluding Linux is because at the present time, to actually use Unity 3D on Linux, it's still in the works as far as I know, but they haven't actually released a version of it for Linux yet, to my knowledge. So whether you have a Mac or a Windows computer, this is where you go ahead and download it, and if you're an enthusiast and you have a Linux computer, you can still download Blender and follow along, it's not a big deal. Alright, and then next is going to be GIMP, which is gimp.org. And the reason why we're using GIMP is because in Blender we're just modeling our objects. We're not texturing them. We're not actually painting on clothes or grass or metal for a weapon or anything like that. That's what GIMP is going to do. So it's basically a open source free program that is the equivalent of Photoshop, except it doesn't have a hefty price tag on it. You just go ahead and click download, and there you go. Okay, so that's going to allow our models to actually look unique. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and grab Unity from unity3d.com. And as I said earlier, Unity has a free version, which is for the independent developer, and even though it's a free version versus the professional, it's still extremely powerful. So it's a really nice set of features that we're going to be utilizing. And now some of you might be asking, why do we need Unity when Blender has its own 3D game engine? Well, the reason why is because Blender, even though its game engine is very nice and very powerful as far as speed, performance, and whatnot, it's very limited as far as exporting to various platforms, whereas Unity, you can export it to iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, Linux, web browsers, Xbox, PlayStation, and the Nintendo Wii. Okay, and with the independent developer version of Unity, you can export to, well, that's not really hiding very well, but you can export to iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, Linux, and the web browser for free, which covers I'm not going to say most, but a very large portion of today's market for video games. Okay. And on one little quick note, before we actually start modeling and making our game within the next few videos, like let's say you have a Windows computer that you're going to be working on. If you want to export to iOS for the iPhone or iPad, you will not be able to. You have to have a Mac because you also need to have the Xcode developer suite from Apple in order to compile it for iPhone. However, you can export it to Android and naturally Windows, And as far as I know, you can export to Mac without Xcode. So, but yeah, that's going to be the three main programs that we're going to be using, like I stated in the last video. And then in the following video after this one, even though you will already have the software, which is Blender, GIMP, and Unity, you cannot just import a model from Blender to Unity and have it be the same proportion that it was in Blender. You can, however, import it straight across seamlessly, but what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set up Blender and Unity to communicate properly so that when we make something in Blender and then import it to Unity, we don't have to resize it later. It'll automatically resize it to the exact size that we had in Blender, so that way everything is to scale and it will save us a lot of time. Alright, so if you are still interested in following my YouTube channel and learning how to make a video game from the ground up, I am asking you to go ahead and subscribe if you're nice. If not, you don't have to, but if you're nice, that'd be cool. And the last bit is this 3D game that we're going to be making is going to allow you to get virtually a step-by-step guide to making either a first-person shooter or a 3D RPG. So if you're going to be making either one of those, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, because this is going to save you a lot of time and let you focus more on having fun making your game rather than stressing out over how to get a certain function to work. Okay, so other than that, please subscribe, and I will look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.